Hello, everybody. My name's Sedical Portal, and we're going to be talking about adult stuff today. Stuff that is very not usually what I do, but I think it's really important for me to talk about the subject now, finally, because I need to be honest with myself and honest to you guys about stuff on, corn that I'm just going to say corn, that I really genuinely believe. And I know it's kind of a hot take. I know that my opinions don't resonate with everyone, but it's not in a personal attack. It's nothing personal. I can't control what people want to do with their own lives, regardless of my intentions or other people's beliefs. I understand that, but it's ask yourselves, I don't want to say you personally, I'm not attacking you personally, right? But it's ask yourselves these questions, right? To society. It's our society, it's so hyper overly sexualized in every area imaginable. In the movies that we watch, in the billboards and posters when we go out into the city in public, when on YouTube, on Instagram, on P-Hub, on all of these different platforms. It's insane. There's so much softcore corn on basically every single thing you can even think about. Because there's that saying, sex sells, and it's true. It really, really does sell, because it taps into one of the most powerful biological traits in human beings, to reproduce. So what kind of made me and motivated to actually make this video was because I was in a comment section about, I forgot what the video was called. It was by Cole Hastings. It was called "Why Gen Z is Terrified of Intimacy," and yeah, it was by Cole Hastings, and he was basically describing how the epidemic of, 63% of young men are single, and 34% of young women are single, in the Gen Z range, so it's 18 to 25 years old. Okay, so a lot of young people are single, and there's a lot of reasons, right? There's all these dating apps, and they are very superficial, and the people on them are superficial. They're players. They want to have sex with people a lot of the times. Other times they want to have intimacy, but they're not focusing on the right thing. And these apps are ridiculous, but I guess my point, what I was saying, was how I theorized that porn is a massive issue in the whole dating crisis, why people are so lonely and unhappy with themselves, just scared to interact with people in general, and are just so passive about everything. And I genuinely think, from my experience, that when I watched a lot of pornography, with a C, I say it with a C so I don't get messed up by YouTube. Yeah, I watched a lot of porn because those were things that I went through, and the comment section, I replied with legitimate honesty, and some of the responses that were defending the material, that got more likes to my comment, and it bothered the shit out of me. I'm oh frick, why is it, oh my word, I guess that's a part on my behalf, dude. I struggled with it for almost 10 years of my life. I wrote that in that section, and it's true. I started watching it when I was 12 years old, and I hadn't had any relationships at that point. I'd never had a girlfriend or anything at that point in my life. And so You experience that before you experience your first intimate connection. And that's just a disaster, because now your brain is being, in a way, understood, that you're understanding, oh, this is how sex is like. And then there's just things on there like you're not really meant to see as a human being. We are visual. We are not meant to see certain things. It is a type of processing, so it's going to go up here, and it's going to mess with us. You need to be unapologetic in like what you think. People, I think, are just like soft a lot, and they're too scared. You know, they want to sugarcoat things and be like, oh no, you know, it's not bad for you. But like, no, you just need to straight up be honest with people, like, about what you think about having your needs and what you think about this particular subject or whatever. You just need to be directly purposeful with what you're saying. When I watched a lot of adult content, and I'm still recovering from it right now, after I'd watch it, right, I would feel so hollow inside. I don't mean to get graphic, but like, after you release this part of you, you're missing something, like something has been lost, and you feel this whole sense of shame. And like, it's like, I think a lot of it is probably biological. If shame is, like, think about it, it's not a moral thing, I don't think, like, because if society already accepts it, and society's like, oh, you know, sex is fine and all that, and if there's no one else around, it's like, why should you be ashamed of it? There's literally, if society says it's okay and there's no one else around and you're not doing anything to anyone else, there's no reason you shouldn't feel shame, unless there's a component to it. There is absolutely benefits from not relapsing, from not watching adult content, but it benefits anyone, I think, who just doesn't watch that stuff. Like, you should be focusing on other things. Like, when I wasn't watching it, I was focusing a lot more my time on programming, because I like learning about that stuff. Python's a really good language for starters to begin with. Yeah, that's me. Adult content is just so lame, man. Well, why are you watching it? Because you don't know how to communicate with women, because you don't want to start focusing on your goals, because you feel empty inside and you don't really feel like you have connection or purpose with anyone. You're not really having much success with the ladies at all, or the men. Like, are you just not doing it? Are you just watching it because it feels good? It's like, there's literally no reason to be watching it because it feels good. It acts like a drug, okay? And people say things like, oh, we'll do it in moderation. And dude, there is no such thing as doing it in moderation. Lust is, even if you don't think you're addicted to it and you're doing it like once a week, it still affects your brain. It still rewrites your brain, okay? You can go gambling once a week, okay? It's not a physical thing. You can still have events once a week and still go to a bar once a week because you feel empty, right? You don't feel good about yourself, so you do these things. Now, well, you can do it for other reasons, but I get where the nuance gets lost here, and that people are gonna, say these things. I know I sound harsh in what I say, but I want the best for people. I want people to make decisions for themselves that's based on genuine long-term interest, and not just like, oh, because it feels good. The porn, oh, I said porn, ooh. Well, it's been more than 30 seconds. It erodes your confidence over time. I guarantee it. Your limbic system, or no, it was your amygdala, sorry. The part of your brain that's processed like emotions and that kind of stuff gets way, way more active when you're watching adult content. It's much, much more transparent, which means you're also more vulnerable to mood swings and other issues and all these different things. I've had to get my words together. I've tried to edit all this stuff out. I'm just a dude trying to collect my thoughts together. There's not really a script or anything for this video. But I get that it makes some people angry when I say, because it challenges people's perception. Like, people think like I'm attacking them when I'm not. But some people, they get like, man, maybe it's saying something about me. Like, maybe I need to change my habits, you know? I just remember that, man, it affected my relationship so negatively. It made it so hard for me to talk to women, like, because I just couldn't like stop thinking about like the stuff that I was watching, man. It makes it so hard to like legitimately get yourself out there because you just feel like so much shit about yourself. I think, because I mentioned the prefrontal cortex is how you make decisions, right? I think confidence is directly tied to decisions that you make, right? If you're making really shitty decisions for yourself that aren't really in your best interest, well, even if you want to quit, you know, you're going to have a hard time trusting in yourself. So in a sense, I think naturally your self-esteem is going to lower. I don't think self-esteem is something that just inherently exists or doesn't exist in someone. I think it's, or even just the way that you talk, it exists through your habits. And when you're not doing things that are harming you that profoundly, like adult content, for example, you naturally begin to feel better, like for a variety of reasons. But I think one of them is because you're not making those decisions to release because you feel bored or some shit like that, or there's some trigger and you don't want to do things because you're stressed out or you feel lonely or you want intimacy or anything like that. Dude, there's so much more worth it in life than like doing that stuff. There's no reason to be doing it, man. Our society is like so, I live in the United States obviously, but it's like our society is just so fucking like hedonistic. It's insane. People just want to escape. They don't want to like actually confront the truth about why shit's going wrong in the world, you know? I get that people saying, oh, it's in moderation, but I don't think, I just simply don't think that there's a such thing as moderation when it comes to corn. That sounds crazy because it sounds like I'm generalizing, right? And it's like, okay, maybe you do watch it like once a month, but you're not, if that's the case, you're not watching it because you feel this certain thing about yourself, you know? You're watching it out of curiosity, and then it's like a 1 or 2 time thing where it's just like, oh, that happened. But all the dudes that are in relationships, or I guarantee that the guys that are successful in relationships don't watch corn. They just don't watch it. Why? Because they're actually focused. They're present. They're talking to the girl, right? They're actually present with her emotions. He's being direct. He's looking at her. He's making eye contact because his mind is clean. You know, he's not thinking to himself like, oh, you know, and these thoughts are subconscious too. Does she think I'm hot? Like, oh yeah, she looked at me. That feels good. Like, it's a validation hit that you get in your mind. That's what the corn does, is it rewrites your brain to like seek sexual reward from like the opposite sex. It's just how it works, man. But it's subtle. And over my years of continuously relapsing and getting better at it, you understand the subtleties of what triggers it, right? There's a lot of issues in society, but honestly, it's like, how many dudes do you think watch it on like a regular basis? I bet you like at least 60% of guys, like 60 to 70% of guys are watching it either daily, every few days, or within a week. Okay, like most guys. It's like all these dudes are so they're so scared to go up to and talk to women. They can't. It's like the cold approaching used to be like kind of a normal thing, and now guys, they just don't even do it, because a lot of these girls say like, it's like, why are guys not approaching us anymore? You know, it's unfortunate. It's really sad, actually. It affects women too. I mean, a little bit differently, but it makes women objectify themselves. They say that they're being objectified, but then the women that get into these videos are objectifying themselves to be sexualized. So I just find that really ironic, quite frankly, and contradictory. I don't see any part of doing degrading acts to one body, regardless of being a man or woman, as empowering. I just don't see that. There's the other forms that you can express, like, if you want to do like erotic art or something like that, there's actually value in that, because there's meaning behind what is being proposed. There's always going to be a slim line when it comes to lust. Lust is like a tornado. It can bring you all over the places. It doesn't end. It's just a constant swirl of like emotions and whiplash, and it just brings you all over the place. It's chaos. It's the embodiment of it. And I think even Dante's Inferno describes the second circle of hell as like a constant whirlpool or something like that, because of the nature of lust. Obviously, I don't think sex is a bad thing, and you shouldn't like repress like your sexual feelings. Like if you gotta like release, it's like, okay, I don't care. Just, you know what I'm saying? Think of sex in another way, not just like a tornado, but like fire. Fire can be used to warm the hearth of your home, or it can be used to burn down your home. Are you going to let this powerful impulse be used directly with someone that you love, someone that you care about, someone that's really important to you? Or are you just going to use it just recklessly and not be channeling that into something else? And the other thing too, when I started practicing sexual discipline, and it hasn't been perfect, I've had slip-ups here and there. When I practiced sexual discipline to myself, I read a lot about like Taoism and stuff. You've probably seen my other videos describing it. And, like meditative work and Qigong and that kind of stuff. Microcosmic orbit is a type of meditation. You start to... It's not that you don't feel like sexual impulses, but when you do, it's like it's not downward anymore. You're breathing it out. It's going through these other parts of your body. And there's a thing called semen retention, and like people give it so much shit, and they say like, oh, it's not like scientific or anything like that. But it's like, okay, well, sure, we don't have total evidence, but you don't think that there's any like incentive at all for like adult content studios or corporations to like suppress research on that topic? It's like, we already know that animals instinctively, most of them only mate like once a year per like mating cycle. Some fish and stuff literally die after they've mated, and I think praying mantis as well. So obviously when you're releasing, there's a huge conserve of energy. There's like 200 proteins in your semen. And I know we're getting a little graphic, but like I just gotta be like real with you guys. Like, whether you see it as spiritual or if you see it as like just practical, it doesn't matter. It's a valuable substance. At least in my experience. Like, I can guarantee after you've released, you're not gonna feel like climbing a mountain. You're just not. I care about people. I care about you guys or whoever's watching. You know, I just want the best for people in general, and I don't want to see people struggling. I just don't. Um. Oh yeah, I was saying too. Like, there's other things. There's so much stuff in your semen, and I'm not making this up. There's a shit ton of enzymes. There's your DNA. There's spasmatosa, which takes like 70 days to happen in your body. And when you're not watching adult content, like, it's not just gonna sit there, man. Like, or sorry, when you're not, doing it down there, you're not touching yourself. Your body, the cells aren't just gonna sit there. They're gonna go through your body, right? Your body adapts naturally. The cells are gonna break down and they're gonna be reabsorbed through the tissue, and they're going to go somewhere. Even if we don't know where they go, they're going somewhere, including probably your brain. It's just, we have to ask these kinds of questions. Why do we defend something that is not doing anything beneficial to society at all? Like, there's literally nothing that adult content is doing. I accessed it when I was 12 years old. Like, at one point, adult content was only accessible to adults in, those adult film stores, like back in like the 90s. But we're not like that anymore. Some little kid can just like you can just access it at any age now. It doesn't matter. That's messed up. Nobody should be seeing it at that age, especially when your mind is still developing. That's how most people get addicted. They get addicted at like a young age, when you don't even like understand how that stuff really works. You don't know how it's affecting you at all. It's just not good for society, man. Like, it fucked up my own confidence, and every single time when I would go like 2 or 3 weeks clean, I would feel better. I'd just have more energy. I'd feel more comfortable around the opposite sex. I wouldn't even be thinking about them as much. I'd just be like, oh yeah, she's cool. Like, you don't think about, you're not trying to seek as much. You're trying to think more like, what's good for you at that point, I didn't realize like what I thought, in my opinion, would like piss people off so much, but it does. Because it strikes a nerve in people. It forces people to ask themselves, like, why am I doing this? But a lot of people, they don't like that. They don't like to confront their own habits, and the idea that it could be potentially harmful to them is terrifying. So it's like, most people, they don't want to even think about something like that. The thing that motivated me to quit was this relationship I had, and the person I was with, and I hurt my relationship because I didn't stop. I watched it, and it in a sense, it's like cheating, because you're looking at other people. You're looking at other people's bodies. It's like, why you shouldn't be doing that. So I get it, Oh, that felt good. Like I said, I'm not here to tell people what to do, and I know that some people are gonna get angry, but I just want to be honest with people, because I want people to look at themselves and say, like, should we really allow this behavior? Like, go, I don't know, like, go, if you're feeling that bad, just do it. But then just think about, like, the consequences. Like, are you going to feel better afterwards? I don't think so. I really don't. Maybe, but I don't think so. Really think about it. So that's about it for this video. I'm kind of curious to see your guys' opinions about it, because if it's really that impactful, because it really is a silent issue, I'd like to understand like your perspective on it. So I guess we'll see everyone later, and I hope everyone has a good rest of their day. See ya.